Kings and queens, the hits no be here. So even though I had planned to just make 4 videos for this week and then catch up later in future, while I was working on those 4 videos, other things happened, and I figured out that it would be best to address them immediately so that we can always use them as references for future topics. So today I will be talking about Laycon and Erica once again, but this time I will be focusing mainly on Laycon, so I will be giving tips on how to escape the friend zone. But before I start, let me remind you of my sponsor, Arcade, the beauty pageant app where you can win up to $1,000 every week by joining various beauty pageants. Download the app from Play Store today and start playing right away as they give you your free cash. This situation happened last week during the house party. Erica seemed to be like very in the moment. She was obviously drunk and she danced provocatively with Laycon throughout the night. And Laycon obviously knew that Erica was drunk. He was in fact in charge of mixing the drinks for her and took advantage of the situation to do a little bit of kissing, touching, but nothing that would go as far as saying that he sexually molested her. They kept it light, but definitely he did take advantage of the situation a little bit. After the night was over, Laycon decided to, keep an eye on Erica because he was scared that as tipsy as she was and as tipsy as Kidwire was, that they would end up in bed together and do something that Erica had told him that she didn't want to do, which is have sex on national TV. But Erica slept well at night, and in the morning Kidwire came around and took care of her, and the situation was back to normal again with Erica and Kid just doing their thing. This episode sparked a public debate on casting bad light on Laycon's character because according to some people, Laycon was projecting. Like, why would he think that Kidwire is the kind of person who would take advantage of a drunk woman? Perhaps he didn't actually act in Erica's interest. Instead, he was just trying to protect his own interest because he didn't want anything to happen between the two of them. Later during the week, this particular week, Erica won the head of the house. She and Laycon had initially discussed this possibility and they had decided that if any of them won the head of the house, they would make the other one the deputy. But given the current situation, with Laycon having feelings for Erica and asking her for some space, Erica felt like, okay, what do I do since you told me that you want to keep a distance from me? At the end, she ended up choosing Kid, and Laycon was upset about the decision. So during the Sunday show, Ebuka asked Erica, are you sure you are not stringing this guy along? Are you sure you are not sort of manipulating the situation? And she said no. Why would she admit it? I mean, but some people do agree that she's being emotionally manipulative. They believe that the whole coming over to Laycon to talk to him about being her deputy and later choosing Kid over him was kind of manipulative in a way. She wanted to make it look like the reason why she didn't choose Laycon as her deputy is because previously Laycon had told her that he wanted to keep a distance from her. But it would seem that the conversation was more to clear her conscience. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I've already said it in the previous video that Erica is not being straightforward, and I can't really tell if it's because she wants to give Laycon a soft landing or because somehow she's benefiting from the situation of having Laycon continuously obsessed over her. Right now Laycon is trying to apply a strategy which unfortunately I had already predicted. He had initially considered acting spiteful towards her or applying pressure. In the previous video I mentioned the stereotypical Hollywood storyline where the good guy chases after the pretty girl even for years and ultimately he gets her. But I also said that in reality this doesn't happen, and it would seem that Laycon is not particularly in touch with reality, and he keeps overestimating the possibility that he and Erica will ever get together. Laycon is inside the house, and even though he was outside the house, I don't even think he will see this video. But for you outside there who might watch this video and who is in the kind of situation similar to Laycon's and wants a way out, I am here to offer you some tips on how to break out of the friend zone. The first solution is, to walk away. But I know very well that it's also the hardest. Telling someone to walk away, it is not as easy as it seems. So I'm going to offer you other tips. So we will start from the word boyfriend. Boyfriend is a combination of two words, boy and friend. If a woman sees you just as a boy, it means that she's only interested in you sexually. If a woman sees you as a friend, she is not interested in you sexually at all. The goal is for a woman to see you as a boyfriend, which means that she is attracted to you sexually, but she also likes you for your personality. The problem with guys who end up in the friend zone is that they do not present themselves as sexually appealing at the first encounter. Many people underrate this, but the first impression is always important. I mentioned this when I spoke about Laycon for the first time. Like when Laycon came on stage, people were not impressed by the way he looked. They all thought that, he had issues with personal grooming. And it was not so much the fact that he's not conventionally attractive, because there are so many men who are not conventionally attractive, but they are still attractive nonetheless. There is, for example, Seal. There's this guy that acted in Blood Diamond. And even here in Nigeria, we still have people like Davido and Wizkid who are not like, handsome men, but they still get the ladies. If a woman does not see you in a sexual way, there's no way you and her can ever have like a romantic relationship. Many people will disagree that, physical attraction is not important. Well, physical attraction is important. Physical attractions are the basis of every romantic relationship. As a matter of fact, the moment you and your partner stop having sex, that relationship is pretty much dead. Many people do not realize this, but each and every one of us, we sort of give out this aura. I spoke about this in my video about pretty privilege. I said when you see a person for the first time, you can tell if that person is approachable, unapproachable, cocky, friendly, detached, emotional, involved. Of course, these perceptions are from the person observing. You might not be any of those things. Even though we cannot control how people see us, but we can still make effort to control the narrative. So, when you are meeting someone for the first time, instead of being shy, or instead of, avoiding eye contact, why don't you instead, walk up to the person, or when the person walks up to you, give them a firm handshake and look them in the eye. That is how you establish a relationship that is on an equal level. Because if the person is looking at you and you are looking down, you are telling them that, okay, I am intimidated by you. And that will automatically set the balance like this with you being over here. Secondly, when you are in a social group, do not just isolate yourself, and do not, you want to play the person that is calm, you want to play the person that is not confrontational, the person that listens. Yeah, it's true, but you also, take the risk of becoming invisible. Like nobody notices that you are there. Now, I'm not asking you to monopolize the conversation. I'm not asking you to shut people down. I'm not asking you to be a total ass. I'm telling you, make yourself noticeable. The first time Erica saw Laycon was when they all came on stage. And her first impression of Laycon was, this guy does not take care of himself. And when Laycon, presented himself to be intelligent, instead of being an additional trait, oh, this guy is cute and he is smart. Instead, it became his only trait. Oh, this guy is not cute, but he's smart. So he's going to be the friend. Now the last tip. This last tip is not morally outstanding. I'm very aware of the fact that it's, consists of using someone to get someone else's attention. But, sometimes we can bend the rules a little bit to get what we want. Just because you've done these first three things doesn't mean that the woman is going to start seeing you sexually. So you have to do one last move and make her see you in a sexual situation with another woman. It is not about you liking this other woman. It is not about you forming an emotional bond with her. It's about showing your friend Zona that you as a man are capable of being a sexual person. When you complete all these steps, there are three ways this situation can go. One, the friend zoner doesn't care at all. Like, she just doesn't like you, and no matter how many, women she sees you hooking up with, having sex with, she just doesn't care. Two, she actually notices you. She finally sees you as sexually attractive. Number three, you could end up falling for this other woman. But there is also a fourth possibility, that the moment, the friend zoner notices you and is interested in having a relationship with you, you might not be interested in having a relationship with her, because you had in your head an image of her that was not real. They were all fantasies of yours. They were all projections. And now that you have to deal with the real deal, you cannot. She is not what you thought she was. And that is when you start losing interest. These are just tips that, I elaborated a few years ago, because I have been hearing about this friend zone for such a long time. And if you think that you might want to try them, if you think you know someone in a similar situation who might find these tips useful, well, why not recommend them, and perhaps you can give me feedback on how it went. And that is all for today, guys. I will see you next time to discuss another housemate. See you now. Bye bye.